Alright, so big news coming out of Hawthorn. Zach Merrett has met with Sam Mitchell on Tuesday to discuss a potential trade to the Hawks in 2026. Let's get into it. G'day guys, ET back with another video, and now this is just a quick update on the Zach Merrett situation. Merrett still has 2 years on his contract remaining, but he really wants out of Essendon, and who can blame him? The Bombers have been rebuilding for the past decade, and they're still on the bottom four. So yeah, a player of his calibre, he honestly doesn't want to waste the rest of his career in a bottom four side. So yeah, this trade sort of makes sense. I've seen a lot of people saying, look, he's probably not the best fit considering he's 30 in a few weeks, but let's be honest, Impey and Amon and Sicily and Barris, they're pretty much all 29, 30 years old, and they're having borderline career best seasons. So I think 30 in the AFL, we forget that it's more like 33, 34, where players really start to slow down unless they have significant injuries. Just look at Jack Gunston, 33, he just made the All-Australian team. He was one of the best key forwards in the comp. So yeah, I think this is a really good situation for Hawthorn to be in. Obviously, none of those players play on the footy like Merrett does, but look, in the situation Hawthorn are in, we have plenty of picks over this season and probably next season, including, people are going to forget this, but Warple is probably going to give us a compensation pick at the end of the season. So a trade scenario would most likely look like, well, definitely our first round pick from Carlton in this year's draft, and potentially a future first round, or even a late first round with the compensation from Warple, but we obviously don't know until it happens. I've seen a fair few people suggest Ned Reeves should be included in this trade, considering Sam Draper has left for Brisbane. Obviously, he is the Essendon ruckman, if you did not know. But look, I don't think that's a good call, because hypothetically, if Meek goes down, does his knee out for the season, Ned Reeves is probably the best backup ruckman to replace him. But Hawthorn need their A-grade midfielder, and they have money to spend and the picks to trade for him. So definitely that first round draft pick from Carlton in this year's draft, Warple's compensation pick, which would most likely be late first round, and we still have Carlton's second round pick in this year's draft, which will probably be around 25. So yeah, throw in a Huswaite, a third round pick. Look, we don't know what's going to happen. It could be a bunch of things. I think with the trade, most likely it's going to wait until other players have been traded just to see what the market is like and what's happening. But in Essendon's point of view, they're obviously in a rebuild right now. They're going to lose all their players, get compensation picks, get a few extra picks for Draper, Merrett, etc. And yeah, I think they're potentially going to have a Richmond-like draft this season. And I think if Hawthorn are lucky and play their cards right, they don't have to lose any players like Ned Reeves or a Huswaite or a Sam Butler or anything. I really don't want to see any of those guys leave. But in saying that, do we really need these picks? Like, look at the picks we had last year. We drafted Noah Miraz in the first round and Cody Anderson later on. And yeah, they're pretty good players. They're solid VFL players, and they're going to be good AFL players in the future. But when you think about it, are they really going to get a game over the next 2-3 seasons? Don't get me wrong, I rate both those players, and they're going to be good AFL players eventually. They just got to develop because they're obviously still teenagers. But I think if Hawthorn play their cards right, they could only lose a few picks, because these picks, like Carlton's first round pick, even if we get a midfielder, or it doesn't really matter what position, they're not really going to play for the next 2 years. So really, we're not losing too much, even if they are valuable first round picks. And given Merrett's age being 30, I think the first round pick, Carlton's second round pick, and maybe even a future third or something along those lines, we would be lucky enough not to lose any important players or any important young players that are going to be contributors in the future. So yeah, I think that's the gist of this trade package. Thank you for watching this quick little update. Comment down below, let me know what you would give up for Zach Merrett, and do you think Zach Merrett is a 100% chance of joining the Hawks next season? Comment down below, let me know. I'm very curious to see your thoughts and opinions.